we're now jumping to Chapter 4, and the first couple of sections of which are pretty much review of different graphing concepts and the coordinate plane in general. So if you feel you already have a good grasp on that, you probably can skip ahead in the videos a little bit. If you feel like you could use a little review, then go ahead and continue watching the video. So first section, 4.1, really just starts by going over the basics of the coordinate plane, which is this grid, this graph we see here, or drawn here on the left side of the paper. We call this the coordinate plane, and in each coordinate plane we can locate specific points somewhere on this graph by using what's called an ordered pair. An ordered pair is two numbers inside of parentheses separated by a comma. We call the first number our x-coordinate, the second number in the parentheses our y-coordinate. Now those two coordinates tell us a specific piece of where the point is located. If we start at the origin, which is the middle of the coordinate plane, right directly where the two major lines cross each other, your x-coordinate will tell you how far right or left you are from that origin, and your y-coordinate tells you how far up or down you are from that origin. More specifically, your x-coordinate movement to the right would be if you had an x-coordinate that was positive, whereas movement to the left of the origin would be if you had a negative x-coordinate. And then similarly with your y-coordinate, you're going to be moving upwards from the origin if you have a positive y-coordinate, and you'd be moving downwards if you had a negative y-coordinate. So, for an example, if you're trying to plot the point negative 5, 2, if they given the ordered pair negative 5, 2, and you wanted to plot that on this coordinate grid, the coordinate plane over here, well, the first coordinate, the x-coordinate, negative 5, that tells us we're going to be moving 5 units to the left because it's negative. And then the second coordinate, 2, is your y-coordinate. Since it's positive, it's telling you we're going to move 2 units up from the origin. So your kind of directions are going to be 5 units left and up 2 units from the origin. And again, the origin is this center, right where the two lines cross. A lot of times on a graph you'll see an O there. It's not a 0, it's actually an O for the origin. So if we were trying to plot this point, negative 5, 2, we'd start at the origin, go 5 units left, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and up 2, 1, 2. That'd put us right there. I'm going to go ahead and label that point, negative 5, comma 2. So you can go ahead and plot any given ordered pair using those same kind of directions. Okay, some other basic pieces we need to know about the coordinate plane is we call these two major lines, one of them vertical, one of them horizontal, we call them axes. One is an x-axis, one is a y-axis. The horizontal line, we call that the x-axis. Again, because left or right movement determines what our x-coordinate is. Up or down movement determines what our y-coordinate is, and we call that then our y-axis. Okay? So horizontal line is our x-axis, vertical line is our y-axis. Since the two lines cut our graph into 4 sections, we give those a names. We call those the 4 different quadrants. We start in the top right quadrant, and we call this quadrant 1. We always use Roman numerals in math to specify what quadrant we're talking about. So that's quadrant I for quadrant 1, and then it makes a C to label the next 3 quadrants. So top left is quadrant 2, just going to write quad for short. Bottom left is quadrant 3. And then bottom right is quadrant 4. And in Roman numerals, to write 4 is written IV, not I. So quadrant 1, 2, 3, 4, like I said, starts in the top right and then makes a C. It moves counterclockwise to label the rest of them. We can get a little more specific about how the signs of our coordinates in each quadrant. In quadrant 1, all of our points in quadrant 1 would be moving to the right and up to get into quadrant 1. Well, movement to the right and up would both be positive x and positive y coordinates. So everything in quadrant 1, all the coordinates are going to be some positive number followed by another positive number. Quadrant 2, we'd be moving to the left and then up, so that would be a negative x coordinate, positive y coordinate. As you see with the ordered pair we already drew in there, negative 5, 2. Okay. Negative x coordinate, positive y coordinate. Quadrant 3, we'd be moving to the left and then down. That is going to be a negative x coordinate and a negative y coordinate. And then lastly, quadrant 4, we'd be moving to the right and then down. Movement to the right gives you a positive x coordinate. Movement down gives you a negative y coordinate. So that just kind of gives you more specifics on what the signs of all your ordered pairs would be in each given quadrant. Last thing I wanted to talk about is sometimes you have specific points that don't lie in one given quadrant. They might lie in between the two quadrants, and that is when they lie right on either the y-axis or the x-axis. For example, if I was to plot this point right here, and I would say, what quadrant is that in? Well, it's kind of in quadrant 1, it's kind of in quadrant 4. It's kind of in between the two. When something lies right on the x-axis, we call that an x-intercept. So the coordinates of this point would be, well, we moved 2 to the right and didn't move up or down any. So the ordered pair would be the point 2, 0. And we would say that is our x-intercept if we were graphing a graph, or if we were drawing a graph. Okay, and then you can also have a point that lies right on your y-axis. So let's say if we came down here, right on the negative 4 there, it lies right in between quadrant 3 and 4. This would be the ordered pair. Well, we didn't move left or right any, so our x-coordinate would be 0. But then we moved down 4, so we'd have a y-coordinate of negative 4. And since this point lies on our vertical y-axis, we call this our y-intercept. Okay, it's where a line crosses, or some sort of graph crosses, your x-axis or your y-axis. It's called an intercept. So we have 2, 0 would be our x-intercept in this case, 0, negative 4 would be a y-intercept in this case. And that's pretty much all the basics of the coordinate plane. We then start getting into how do we actually graph a line if you're given an equation. And that we will get into in the next video.